This season, there is 8 legitimate college football championship level teams. Usually, the last few years, it's been Clemson and Oklahoma. They've kind of separated themselves. Sure, you've had Clemson and Alabama, sorry, and you've had teams like Oklahoma and that kind of come in um, and make a case. But this year, I think Clemson and Alabama have taken a step back. And as I said, I think there's 8 legit teams that could win the national championship this year. I think LSU, Ohio State, Clemson, Oklahoma, Auburn, Alabama, Wisconsin, Georgia are all teams that have a legitimate stake that you could, if you picked one of those 8 teams and said, this is the team that's going to win the college football playoff, I'm going to have a hard time disagreeing with you. And you hear that and you say, oh, well, Brian, wouldn't an 8-team playoff be perfect? Look at these 8 teams. There's not a whole lot of separation. Let's put them on a playoff and get the true national champion. But I'm going to tell you, we already got a playoff, an 8-team playoff. Okay? So let's look at those teams. Let's look first at the SEC. The SEC is king. A lot of people don't agree with that, but the SEC typically has the elite teams. The top of the SEC is elite, and then you get to the bottom of the SEC, and that's another story. I think there's a legit 4 teams that have a national championship chance from this division: LSU, Alabama, Auburn, and Georgia. What I see is a playoff happening here. You have 4 teams. They're going to all play pretty much each other. Georgia's going to go to the Georgia's going to probably win the East. There's not another team in the East that's really to their level. I don't think Florida is going to be as good as their top 10 ranking. But we see Georgia play Auburn. Okay? That's going to be, in essence, I wouldn't say an elimination game, but if Auburn's able to beat Georgia on November 16th, and Georgia doesn't win the SEC championship game, they're out of the playoffs. Elimination. Okay? But what about Auburn? Okay? They still have to play, and they've played great. They're going to play Florida this weekend. They've beaten Oregon, who I think is going to be in the top 10 before long. They still got Florida coming up. They still got Georgia coming up. They've got LSU and Alabama. If they run that table, they're going to the college football playoff. They're going to, and win that. That once again, they're going to have a chance between them and LSU. They're going to have a chance between them and Alabama to beat up on each other. Okay? Elimination games. Okay? Alabama, same thing. They still have LSU to play. They still have Auburn to play. Okay? By those teams all playing each other, we're going to get a team out of the SEC. And one of these two, whichever team wins the SEC, that's your team to go to the college football playoff. Okay? I don't think you get 2 SEC teams in there because I think they're going to prove to us, okay, who's the top team there. Then you go to the Big Ten. Ohio State and Wisconsin seem like the 2 clear best teams. Yes, Penn State's in there. We get to see Penn State play Ohio State. Whoever wins that game, I don't see either of those teams losing any other game except for if they play each other. So, who's going to win that game? Okay, you have Wisconsin's going to win the West. I don't think there's another team out there that's going to contend with Wisconsin to win the West. Okay. Ohio State, I see them getting past. And Wisconsin and Ohio State are going to play each other. So it's not, we're going to see these 2 teams play against each other, and I think they're going to play again. I think Ohio State wins both of those games. Ohio State gets in. No, once again, part of the 18 playoff. Okay. From there, Oklahoma, they're the clear best team in the Big 12. They're going to get in. Clemson's easily the best team in the ACC. They get in. So it's not a true, it would be nice if those 4 conferences had 2 good quality teams in each division that they'd play their way in. I know Texas is in the Big 10 or Big 12. ACC has nobody else. My picks to win the each of those conferences and get into the college football playoff Okay, my fourth ranked team, the team I think is going to be the fourth rated team in the college football playoff, is Oklahoma. I think they're going to go undefeated. They're going to have a quality win against Texas, probably twice. Okay, otherwise, I mean, Oklahoma State's good. There's other good teams in the Big 12, but I think they'll be the number 4 team. Number 3, I have Clemson. Clemson's already slipped a little bit in the polls. I know that's different than the college football playoff, but I think the fact that they've kind of struggled a little bit at times, they haven't looked as crisp. They've lost a lot of players. They're going to go undefeated, but I think the committee is going to push them down. Okay, they're going to be the 3. The number 2 team is Ohio State. I think Ohio State's going to run the table. They look like a complete team. Justin Fields, so far, they haven't truly played a tough team, but he looks like a complete difference maker. He makes this offense go. He can throw it. He can run it. They've got their lines playing well. They've got a good running back in J.K. Dobbins. They've got 3 quality receivers. They got elite players at all 3 levels of their defense. Elite team. I think they'll be undefeated because I think they'll beat Wisconsin twice. That's 2 pretty good wins, along with Penn State. I think will be a good quality win. Michigan, even though they're down, Michigan State, I think they're going to be quality wins for them. My number 1 team is an SEC team. It's not Alabama. It's not Auburn. It's not Georgia. I have the LSU Tigers representing the SEC, and I think they've got a shot, and they might lose 1 game, but I think they're going to have enough high-caliber wins that's going to project them up to that number 1 spot. Okay, they beat Texas on the road. I think Texas is only going to have 3 losses. Texas will have 3 losses on the season. LSU will be 1, and Oklahoma will be 2 of them. Maybe they beat Oklahoma in one of those games. From there, LSU's going to, got a win against Florida. That's going to be probably a top 15, top 20 win. Auburn's going to be a top 10 win. Alabama's going to be a top 10 win. I think Texas A&M will probably be a top 25 win. I think they've got the defense that's going to be like they've always had. That's going to carry them. That's going to be able to shut some teams down. And I think they finally got the offense in there that they need. Joe Burrow is taking that next step. They've updated, they've modernized their attack. They're taking advantage of the weapons they have on the outside. And I think they have enough to beat Auburn. I think they have enough to beat Alabama. Auburn looks good. I actually think, this is going to be crazy, I think Alabama is going to finish 3rd in the SEC West. And that seems ludicrous, crazy. This is Alabama. This is the juggernaut. This is the team that has been dominating college football the last 6 to 8 years or more. But I've in my breakdowns, I've really watched them this early season, breaking down guys like Henry Ruggs and some of their other receivers. And a few things I've noticed is their offensive line is not where it used to be. They've lost a lot of guys. They've had to replace them. I don't think it's as good. Teams like Duke and South Carolina were able to get enough pressure on Tua that he wasn't really able to attack downfield. And that's against Duke and South Carolina. What's it going to be like against Auburn? And their front 4 is one of the best front 4s in college football. Derek Brown, Marlon Davidson, Nick Coe. Though I think those guys are going to live in that backfield. Then you got LSU, Caleb Von Chason, Rashad Lawrence. They've got the athletes, I think, that are going to give Alabama fits. Now, it could be 100% wrong, and we could see Alabama go undefeated once again. But I think they've got enough pieces missing. They're thin at linebacker. Dylan Moses is out for the year. I could see Alabama taking a step back this year, not because they're not great, not because they're not good. It's just I think Auburn and I think LSU have caught up and they're primed to take that spot. The thing that helps Alabama is they get LSU at home. So LSU has to go in there, but they do have to travel to Auburn. So maybe they kind of beat up on each other, and LSU gets in there. But I think LSU is going to represent the SEC in the college football playoff. I think the next best team that could do that is Auburn. I think Auburn has that shot. They've got the defense. Their defense is legit. They were able to slow down after they kind of took a little steps against Oregon. They were able to regroup, and they've just looked like a dominant team. The offense is still a work in progress, but they're getting their freshman quarterback Bo Nix. He's gaining confidence. He's getting better week to week. They beat A&M on the road. They got Florida on the road. So he's going to get more and more games, winnable games, and build that confidence. I think he's got a shot to do so. So that's my take on the college football playoff. Like I said, I think LSU versus Oklahoma, 1 versus 4. Ohio State 2, Clemson 3. I think we're going to have a tremendous college football playoff. I think the college football season is going to be very exciting as we get down as the season goes. 8 teams with legit national championship capabilities. I think Oregon is that 9th team. They've got a shot. I think Penn State's right there. We honestly have 10 teams that you could make a case for to going into the college football playoffs. So it should be an exciting season, and I can't wait for it to unfold.